I had to. This is like the second time recording this because I don't know how to even do an intro to this vehicle. That's probably going to take a whole hour to do a whole video, and I'm trying my best not to. I'm gonna spend 3 to 5 minutes talking about the situation that we're dealing with and a small backstory. Then we'll go from there. This vehicle, this van, this beautiful van, came from the shop that I've diagnosed stuff before. Their mechanics work on stuff, and then when they can't get it taken care of, they'll bring it to me. Long story short, it came when they originally got the vehicle. It had a strange noise. I don't know the noise, but it had a noise from what he described that isn't the same as what we're dealing with now. So we probably may be dealing with the original noise that they probably never fixed and the noise that came about after they tried to repair what they failed to fix. This vehicle came from the same place I did that hour-long Lexus video, so you kind of know what we're up against. They replaced the timing belt water pump in efforts to resolve this noise, the original noise. It got to the point where someone told them it's in the cylinder head and it has lifters. These don't have hydraulic lifters on here. These have adjustable rocker arms. They took the heads off, sent it to the machine shop, strangely the same machine shop that did my daughter's head that I'm kind of questioning. And now there's a new noise that we're probably dealing with now that's present. They changed the time belt and water pump on, I want to say again. Then they wound up changing the camshaft. So the camshaft should be brand new. He got from Honda. We have a valve pause system. I want to say that looks new. Let's look at the one in the back. No, they look old. So this looks original, but slightly new. The other one, yeah, and it's leaking real bad too. So those probably original. It has a very, very bad misfire, and it knocks pretty bad. So we should see a new camshaft. We should see if once we pull the valve cover off, because I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to do a visual inspection because this noise is very prominent. And I think that's what's going to be the thing now. But first, we're going to hear the noise. Then I'm going to pull codes because I have not pulled codes yet. And then I'm going to formulate some non-invasive game plan to see what we're possibly up against. And I have an idea that I want to check vacuum based off the noise that I'm dealing with and see if we're making 20 inches of mercury. So it runs the best it's going to run for that initial 3 seconds, and then something happens that puts it in this limp home mode. So we're dealing with a combination of problems. Sounds so hard over there that I'm just suspecting that we have, timing belt problems. But I've never heard a knock so significant with the timing belt. Now, naturally, I'm thinking just to go straight to the timing belt tensioner, okay? And even though I said, we could have bad new parts. Well, I've replaced it 3 times. That don't mean nothing. So you kind of get an idea what kind of shop I'm dealing with. Just because they put it on there, they suspect that it's new. Just because they went over 3 times, they still overlooking that they're probably putting bad new stuff on it. I don't know what kind of brand it was, but it still sounds like the timing belt tensioner has failed, because that's what you're hearing that tensioner beat up against the tensioner pulley housing and beating up against the tensioner. That's what I'm thinking that we got going on. It's a possibility. Also, we have the variable cylinder management. That's probably having a combination of an issue that we're just already dealing with. So I don't know if they put new tensioner and stuff on here, but we can look back there and find out. Pull the wheel off, look back in that area. But again, first, I really want to pull vacuum and see if there's potentially timing that's off. it's a single cam. So the timing, I'd imagine it can be off, but I don't know. I guess the fire. We need to pull codes first. Let me put a vacuum gauge to it, see what the vacuum is, and then we'll go from there. Because the vacuum is off, timing still can be off. Okay, and we're just probably dealing with a screwed up timing because it wasn't done right. Because it's very hard to do the back, and the tensioner is probably screwed up. And it potentially got like 3 different issues. So who knows? Let's pull vacuum first. So our vacuum starts to be okay, and then I recorded it once, but it didn't. The camera was vibrating so bad, so I had to put it on a standalone, away from off the vehicle. So let's try it again. Let me see if I can enhance this. We'll look at the vacuum. It started off real strong and then failed and started to climb up to 0. So if you noticed, it started off to be normal. I want to say that's without me fully looking back at the camera. I could see from the vehicle, from the inside of the car, that it came down like it went to 15 inches of mercury. And if that's the case, and then something happens, then it rises to atmosphere closer to 0, we probably dealing with some sort of cylinder management issue. Like if the cylinder management is inactive and then it activates, or however it works, something's transitioning to where it's causing the timing to be even further off. Like there's too much advancement, I'm assuming. Let's just check the codes, see where it is. Maybe give me some context, because logically we're gonna have to check the timing first. Then, because I mean, still gotta inspect the noise on the side over there, and then see if we can put some more context clues together to formulate some conclusion. So for right now, we have 6 codes inside the PGMFI, and with this, who knows? Let's wait on it, see what information we're given, and go through a process of elimination. See, valve pause system. See, that's what I was thinking. O2 sensor heater malfunction. Valve pause system stuck off. Valve pause system stuck off. I guess this is good because of timing. But then again, why is that noise present? That's what bothers me. That hard tapping. I'd imagine we'll get timing codes before we get valve pause system stuck off codes, but that's not necessarily true. This could be for several reasons. Valve pause system stuck off. Valve pause system stuck off. 394 permanent. Okay, not worry about the heater. O2. Okay, but which bank though? I got to figure out which bank this is claiming to be of dissatisfaction. Let me look up this code. This is where I have to step back and read my information, maybe get some more context with the code that we're dealing with, and go from there. Most of this diagnosing stuff is just pretty much reading and understanding what we're dealing with to better address what we're dealing with. All right, so the information I got, P3400 is going to be bank 1, P3497 is going to be bank 2. So both of these systems have failed. And the thing is, the owner, well, the shop stated that there was no check-in light when they first got the car. Check-in light after the work was done. So naturally, human error. That's all I'm going to. That's all I'm going to assume at the moment. So I have to pull what they did down and do a visual inspection. There's just no way around it, because if it worked before I touched it and it didn't after, it's going to be me. That's just naturally what's going to happen. So if we should see the camshafts have been replaced. One of them. I will have to inspect the other and go from there. Hopefully we're able to see what's causing that knocking noise, but it really sounds like it's the timing belt, but I could be wrong. But the paste though, let me clear this code right quick since we got this information. Let me see what immediately comes back. Chicken light came right back on. Yeah, same ones. That's weird though. Well, just those two. I ain't worry about the temporary stuff. Oh boy. Let's pull this stuff off. But before I do, I'm going to take a stethoscope, see which side is loudest, and go to that side first, because dang it, man. I took my stethoscope and it's so loud right at that tensioner right there. It is so loud at that tensioner. When I mean it's loud, like it about blow your eardrums out. If you put the stethoscope probe right at the tensioner, it is extremely loud. So naturally, let's fix this noise first, and because I'm naturally going to have to check the timing anyway. I'm glad I didn't pull this top end stuff down. I said, that's why I took the stethoscope, went to where the noise was more prominent. So I gotta inspect the timing, because if that's the case, if they get the timing 3 times, he probably screwed the timing up too. So I'm gonna have to pull this down, inspect the timing, and while I'm in there, replace the tensioner. I think I got a spare one laying around, because I've done several of these, and I swear I got one laying around. It'll fit. Check this out. Just got the front, rear, bank 1 cover off. Look at that. All that slack. I'm surprised it didn't jump timing and bend the valves, but I'm not. I expect the timing to be off. Now, because we checked the vacuum's off, timing's going to be off, so it's jumped. We just got to get it back in time, get a new, let me see how this belt look. Probably can just leave that belt on there. They're going to cheap out anyway, parts wise. We could just get a new tensioner, and if they got the kit, we can just get the kit, replace the tensioner and the belt. Now, it's a possibility they may have just didn't pull the grenade pin. I doubt it, because it's common sense, but there's also a possibility the actual tensioner is seized up. Not the tensioner, the hydraulic tensioner, but the pivoting tensioner with the idler with the tensioner pulley on it. So I'm not saying that can't happen, but typically what's going to happen is going to be the first thing, the hydraulic tensioner is going to be screwed up. I got the harmonic balancer loose, and I didn't have to fight with it. Just got to pull that off, pull the bottom cover off, and we're gonna see exactly what's going on. Try to get as much as I can here, but there's the problem. You can see that the tensioner is fully depressed. It's fully depressed in. I want to turn the crank so all the slack is on the side with let's see how that looks. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't turn that crank. The keyway came out. So yeah, the tensioner is just worn slap out. Let me turn it. You can see it's not able to support the pushback from the belt. Let me turn the other way. See that? Turn it opposite way and it pushes down. So just like I try to explain to them, bad new parts. They don't understand that. And with they probably just kept replacing the stuff with the old stuff, not knowing because it's brand new, new parts can fail. Perfect example why we should never overlook new parts. So I'm checking my timing that they did. I have it at top dead center. My marks are going to be the yellow marks. There's the crank. Here's bank 2. It is lined up. Here's bank 1. That's lined up also. So the timing's on point, which raises a concern to a degree, because I'm thinking what happens because of that rapid oscillation, and luckily the belt's new. So because the belt's new and it's not stretched, it didn't jump time. So I'm thinking because of once the RPM increases, the vacuum is okay, but then once it decreases, the belt has time to jump. And when it starts jumping, it probably throws the timing off, causing that the ignition system and the valves, the overlap and stuff, all that to occur, and then we get our issues with the vacuum, I'm assuming. Okay, so let's fix the noise first, check vacuum, and then reassess. Let me call the shop. So I got a new tensioner from O'Reilly's. It was $120 something. Hopefully I got this to where it's not gonna pull out. It should hold in place. I got all the slack on this side. This noise. Here we go. I should be able to push this thing down my hand because, oh, no, I'm not. It should be, yeah, it's leaking in the center. I can actually, yeah, I can squeeze it in my hand. All right, let's get the new one in, get this issue fixed. Oh, no, that's not right. Run it on in there. Remember the other car? I did a YouTube short where the guy did the time belt water pump on the same engine and wound up screwing this up, which wound up breaking and bending the valves. That's the lady who wound up declining to work because I quoted her several $1,000s to do the head and redo the timing. She didn't go for that. So I don't like the way that built. Let's snug that down. Alright, it's tight. I'm trying to follow through it, and it did. We are tight. That noise is gonna be fixed. Alright, guess the only thing to do is put everything back and start up. So I got the component replaced, and it starts up and runs fine. I had to start up off camera because my brother was here, and we got talking, and I just want to go. I want to see what happened. Let me start up so you can hear it, and we'll go from there. Just bear with me. So it ran great, and the issue started again. Now, when my brother was here, we were sitting there talking, and I said, I ran through a couple different scenarios of what this could be, because we got one issue fixed. The other thing that the people did was adjust the valves. All right. So while I was talking to my brother, I said, being that they adjust the valves, and we have this kind of situation going on where it's going to atmosphere, we have valve overlap. It's like VTEX kicking in, but it's not. So you know what I'm going for. They probably over tightened the valves on bank one. And how I know it's bank one, I said, while I was with my brother, I said, I'm gonna pull up misfire data. That's before he wound up leaving. I pull up misfire data and check this out. Look at that. 1, 2, and 3 are misfiring. See, that's diagnosing right there. Ain't have to pull off shit. Ain't have to do any visual inspection. I said, you know what? Let me use my tools. What's least invasive? We know it worked fine. I can literally cut it off, start up, and rev it up. It revs fine. It revs great. So that lets me know there's no valve issues. It has good compression, no misfires. That's a good indication that there's nothing wrong with the combustion chamber. It seals. It's just when it goes into idle. So the other thing we need to do is pull this intake off, pull that valve cover off, and adjust the valves. Well, let's inspect the valves first. They should be extremely tight. If they are, let's adjust them. Put everything at 10,000 like I always do, versus I think 8 and 12 or something like that. I just put everything just at 1. It runs fine, and I don't question it. Let's pull off that 1 and go from there. But before I do, I'm gonna shut it down, start it back up, and show you that it revs up good. So revs fine. So we're good on that end. Let's start taking the intake off. So I got everything pulled down for the bank one. And let me just tell you, these valves are extremely tight. I got number 1 cylinder up at this base circle. Here on the camera, there's our number 1 inscription right there. There's a little notch, it's kind of inverted, so you have to look it upside down. I have my camera down, I can't see down at will. So once I turn the engine over and you see the number here, then you'll know you'll be in the proper orientation to adjust the valves. So once you rotate it, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's going to be your indication you're at the proper location. So down here, just to ensure that I'm in the right spot, I'm looking down at the side here of the camshaft, and you can see where the lobe is at its base circle. I don't know if the camera's going to pick all that up, but the lobe is definitely on its base circle. In regards to these valves here, since I'm on number 1, 1, 2, 3, I can't even get 8 10,000ths in there. I'm going to adjust these to 10,000ths, but I can't even get 8 10,000ths. I got a 2 in there, and when I tell you these things are tight, there's no movement. These are extremely tight. So lightly, I can't get back there. These are just ridiculous. I don't know what in the world is going on that side. Those are just ridiculously tight. That's our problem. They obviously adjusted these without a filler gauge, and I know who probably did it. I'm gonna keep the names to myself. But I had one guy. Well, I had got his customer car because they couldn't fix it, and what happened was he did the same thing. The customer actually told me he tried to adjust the valves without a filler gauge. So either way, I'm gonna get these valves adjusted, and I'm gonna show you how much movement they'll have. So we already got an idea of what they're doing now. I mean, like I said, I got a 2000s in there, but it's definitely too thick for two 10,000s. It's enough to get a two 10,000s in there. It's too closed up for 8 10,000s. So let me get, like I said, I'm gonna adjust them all at 10,000s. I never had any problems out of them. Say what you want, you'll see that it works fine afterwards. So for that one valve, it took 6 minutes to do. So it's not much, but that's what it looks like now. The only reason why I won't go up and down freely is because it has that cylinder management, and those return springs are what I'm competing against. So I'm lifting up on it now, and it moves a lot better. I'll hit these two, 1 and 2 and 3, and I'll get everything back together, see how she works out. So talk about nervousness. It's time to start it up and see if this works. If this don't work, then what? I don't know. I honestly don't know. This is the only thing that I think is wrong with it. I highly doubt it's going to be the valve pause system. I think it just got its own other issues. I've never dealt with this with the cylinder management system, so I would honestly be at a loss. Just going through a logical process of deduction. This just seems to be what it is, and so here we go. What is it doing? Is it going to work or break? Oh my gosh. Fuck. Damn it. Well, it ran so good when it started up though. And then we got a pulsating vacuum gauge now. Damn it. Let's see if there's misfire. So the misfires are fixed on bank 1. Let me go back out from the data and go back into it. It's not misfiring anymore. So I fixed that. Uh-oh. That's resolved. Oh boy. Let's see what codes are coming up. So we got valve pause system stuck off. Let me erase it. I gotta turn I need to cut the engine off. Oh boy. Damn it. Hold on right quick. Give me a second. So I will say there's a difference. I can rev it up now because it's not misfiring so bad because the valves aren't so tight on bank one. Let me try. Let me show you. Man, what do these people do? What did they do? I'm gonna have to. I can't think while I talk because I gotta evaluate the situation. That's. Damn it, man. I mean, unless I got everything that they claim that they put on, because again, the valve system, that being stuck off. Is it just in a limp home mode because it's stuck off because it's a circuit fault? I wonder if that's what we're dealing with, because it runs perfect. It runs great when you start it up and rev it up. It runs phenomenal. And it should even run better now since I got the valves adjusted. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and do that. Yeah, I mean, and then it eventually goes back into the limp home mode. I wonder if how do I? Oh gosh, I just gotta diagnose the valve pause system. That's the only thing. And usually, what happens, the pressure switches fail. That's what's common. So I'm gonna have to look at the data, see if there's some issues with the pressure switches. But mentally, right now, I'm kind of tapped out because it seems just to be some chain reaction of issues, and then because of the issues the mechanic presented me now from whatever he tried to replace, who knows if he screwed something up, put in camshafts and stuff in there. But again, if even not just one bank but both banks, I've had where I've done this myself because I've had a cylinder management unit laying around, and I wound up swapping the pressure sensors. That was on that Honda Accord I did years ago with the head gasket, and had some valve pause system issues. But I swear it didn't go into a limp home mode. That was a 2015 Cross Tour. But the connector was a different color, and one had 2 pins, one had 1 pin. Maybe that's what's going on. Let me take a peek, because it looked like it was probably oh god, and it's leaking too. And this is like oil leaks. It's just, man, this is some shit. Hold on. So what the hell? I disconnected the pressure switch on bank 2, and it just stayed idling. And look at it. I swear I've done this already, because I tried disconnecting on that side, but that's when we had the misfire. I just disconnected the damn thing and it started up. I didn't anticipate this would happen. Let me disconnect the one in the back. Shut it down and start it back up and see what happened. Because it's just a limp home mode if that's the case. Shit, look how perfect that is. Through mental frustration, I inadvertently diagnosed it. Well, damn. That's why I figured it was limp home mode, but I got frustrated with coming up with a game plan to test this thing. It runs fucking phenomenally right now. So I can test the pressure switch. I gotta figure out how I want to go about that. I could probably just look at scan data, because it could be the valve, but it's stuck off. I swear, on and off, 2 different states. Maybe it goes through like a testing phase when it activates the solenoid, to initially test the valve pause system when it starts up, and if it don't switch on off, then it registers the problem. That's why we have like that 3 to 4 second window where it works and then it stops and it goes into limp home mode. So let's just look at data, start it up, and see how it responds, because right now it's working perfect, and I'm crossing my fingers that it's going to be the common pressure switch. And these pressure switches are fucking expensive too, if I recall properly. Let me clear these codes out and see what comes back up when let's see here, when I clear them, because it should be the opposite. I think it's a P29297 or something like that. I should get the antithesis of what this code is stuck on or something. I can't remember how the switch worked. Let's see here. Check engine light did not come on. Okay. Because the switches are disconnected, it's not going to register as active. So I think it's the pressure switches is obviously defective without going through any further testing. It may not have a code present because, yeah, it's not going to have a code present because it's single wire sensors don't have feedback. So it's just either on or off. And what's going to happen is that pressure switch likely is just active. And being that it's active is, well, it's stuck in the active state. That's what it is. So I wonder if I pull the switch off, see if there's anything lodged in there, while simultaneously looking at live data. I think I had a cylinder management. I'm put in pressure switch. Spelled pressure wrong. Rocker arm pressure switch, front, rear. Rocker arm pressure sensor. Okay, let's look at those there. So I'm gonna. Let's connect them and see if they go into the on state. I want to add also the brakes feel a lot better, because before, when it was acting up, we had 4 vacuum and 4 brakes. Let's connect the front one. Yep, it went on. Yep. All right, now it's going to act up. So our pressure switch is likely just screwed up. Okay. Let me pull it out, see if there's anything lodged in there. So now I've had this happen before where you pull it out, the pressure get relieved, and it goes to the off state. So what I'm going to do is non-applicable right now on the live data. Turn the key in the on position and see what it states when I plug it in. So we're gonna let the data populate. Right, okay, so it's off right now. I'm gonna plug it in, and if the switch is bad, it should go back to the on state. Focus use. Okay, here we go. And I'm hoping that it do. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. It didn't. Let's put because if that's the case, the solenoid may be shot and the pressure's bypassing this, going over to the pressure switch and activating the pressure switch. So let's pull the solenoid out now and see what that's doing. There's a possibility the pressure switch may be okay. All right, I think I chased my ass a little bit. What's going on is when these switches need to be off when the engine's running, and what's happening, they're getting transitioned to on. All right, I figured, like, because the simple circuit is grounding out or making contact and is utilizing ground. What I'm what I did, I got a test light, and I took the test light, connected to positive, and was in search for that ground signal. One thing I noticed, one is more definitively illuminated than the other. So this bank is pretty low. That one in the back, the rear is pretty high. Let me show you. So this one's pretty bright in the back. The one in the front is pretty dim. So what I could do is go off of just the illumination that it has present. And I do have another pressure switch laying around. I could swap that out, but what if, you know, I swap these switches and the one in the back and transfer to the front and it becomes bright, and the one in the front going to the back becomes dim. That's just a good indication that these switches have their own problems intermittently making contact. Now, what I'm supposed to do by the book likely is just take a pressure reading and measure the pressure. But what if I didn't have pressure gauges? You know, I'm just going to try this method. And like I said, I have another pressure switch here. Maybe this will be okay. I could just probably take this one, put it in there, and see if it changes. That's probably what I'll do. Let me swap that with this one and see if the state corrects itself. And if it does, swap it with another one and do the Swaptronics method. So it's the used one I have laying around. It's not active right now. I'll let it sit there and do its thing. Let me go to the back. Yeah, so that one's active. This one at the bottom down here isn't. Let me plug this in and see what the live data reads. Yeah, and the stand stuck is off. So this is fine. So we just got pressure switch issues. So I think this test light method's pretty reliable. I just figured that out. So it's not in the service information, but just using principle here of operation. It seems like I'll be able to do that. So basically, if the test light illuminates, because its pressure switch is inoperative, working improperly, and is grounding, it's prematurely activating, and you see the test light illuminating, then yeah, this is going to be a viable test here. So this is fixed. So basically I need two pressure switches. I need to order those, and this is going to fix our problem. Got back from the part store. This was around $50 from O'Reilly's. Here's the part number, 18-2382. It's an import direct. This is not the same color, but if you cross-reference, if you look at it for rockauto.com, they're identical. And one's brown, this one's just, well, the one that goes in there is blue. This one just happened to be brown. And I'd imagine they should both work equally as they should. I'm gonna put the one in the back here. Change this one. does come with the new O-ring. I'm just gonna feel and make sure the other one's fine. The O-ring is perfectly fine to be used. That's already in there. So I'm gonna leave the old one alone. There was another check engine light for O2 sensor heater circuit. So probably, I don't know if they want to get that fixed or not. We'll find out. Let's plug this used one in, get the new one plugged in, and let's cut the car on and see what happens. So here we go. See what happens. So the one on the rear is new. The one on the front is the used one. So it seemed to be okay. I think we're in good shape. Yeah, so we're good. This is fixed. No limp home mode. The check engine light is on, and it's probably for the previous code before. Let's go ahead and pull that, clear that. I think it's for the O2 sensor heater circuit. Let's see. And I guess I got confused because it says stuck off and then the switch goes on, which kind of throws me off. Like data shows on, system, the code for unsatisfied condition shows stuck off. So yeah, got the check engine light cleared. Let's go to live data. I'm going to take it on an official test drive. Let's see how it performs. Pressure. So I don't know if it has any other pre-existing problems besides the fact that we may have an O2 sensor heater, but everything that was a problem before is now fixed. Let me see if that heater code came back. Yeah, O2 sensor heater. So he can just let's say temporary. He can just simply replace that. That is nothing. And usually that code signifies that it's a legit issue with the heater circuit. Usually the continuity is the circuit's just open. So I'm gonna recommend he replace that. I think his mechanic can do that. Let me take it on test drive and put some miles on here. Where we at? All right. Trip A, trip B. Let's go back to trip A. Cleared. Take it on drive. All right, just got back off my test drive. The car drove perfectly fine. I got 6 miles to do my normal loop. It drove fine. No check engine light. Let's go here. See what codes came back. I'm surprised the heater circuit code didn't come up unless it just didn't go through its monitoring phase, or sometimes I'll get like false positives or false negatives, however you want to describe it. Let me go. I'm not in the generic data. So let me go back out, go to the global portion and see if that code is still present. This usually happens with Volkswagens and Audis and stuff like that, like higher end cars. Not to say Honda isn't a luxury vehicle, but I swear I've had it happen with Hondas too, where there'll be a code in one section, like the bidirectional portion versus the global portion. Usually I'll trust the global to a degree, and the main thing, it'll be temporary, it wouldn't be a permanent. So yeah, we got see, this is cylinder 5, 6 misfire detected. That's not, these aren't real. Yeah, these are just history. So this, you see what you may be dealing with. This seems more legitimate. The P300. No, I'm gonna ignore these. Hold on one second. So I don't know how to fix this. I'm going to go to live data and see if there's any misfires in the history. I did not mean to go to SRS. While I'm waiting on this, I did notice the brakes. I wasn't satisfied with it. They were a little spongy. And what happens with that is the ABS module can fail internally and cause some fluid to bypass. Come on here. It'll cause the fluid to bypass, and then you'll get that spongy brake pedal. If you get a spongy brake pedal and something you never owned, then you're just gonna have to go through the basics, check all the guide pins, make sure they slide properly, make sure there's no leaks. You may have to bleed the system if you can determine which side has that potential error or not. And to determine that, you're supposed to take some vice grips and block off the rubber lines. And that, if it gets better with the side that's blocked off, then that's going to be the side. It's going to be the culprit. Misfire, cylinder 2. Don't like that. So cylinder 1, this is not significant. Let me see what's in the history. 2, 3, yeah, 5, 4 is okay. 5 and 6. Let's see if it stored anything. I'm not gonna. Yeah, it didn't hold any significant misfires, so I'm not gonna break my neck over that. I mean, that could just be because of, probably something pre-existing, because it just didn't run that well, just in general. So it could have been that. Could have been something else. I mean, the valves are adjusted; they're okay. Normally, they have to populate rapidly over 100 before it becomes a problem. But this is negligible, nothing to be worried about. So I'm not worried about the misfires. Let's see we should still have that same heater code. Okay, let's look under the hood. So we're in good shape. Again, I did my part. I'm just gonna put it this way. I totally did my part. It came in on a tow truck. It's leaving out driving. You saw the condition. Now, with that said, this guy did a shit job, and I'm on the fence. I'm just on the fence about the whole situation. He's paying to get it done right from the issue that it had, but as far as like the work, the fact that the guy repaired stuff and didn't do it right, created oil leaks that probably weren't there before, and it probably did need a camshaft. I don't know. We've had rocker arms fail before, and I've had videos about that. But it smells of oil. You can see that it's leaking there, which it gets on the alternator, kills the alternator. And I've seen some down on the bottom. It's probably leaking somewhere in the back here too. This is something that I wouldn't want my entire name attached to selling it. Okay, but if a person's paying to get a particular issue fixed, cool. Okay, but these side lights, I just have such mixed feelings about them, because they want it fixed properly, but they still want to, tell them what they'll sell it for. This car has safety issues with the brakes. It's not, you don't want to sell nothing like that. I did fix some coolant leaks while I was in there, and I saw some things that just weren't put back properly. I wish the best of luck of whoever gets it. It looks good. Don't get me wrong. The van looks amazing. This did come from the auction, and it never fails getting something from the auction with interesting backstory, with an interesting issue. Sorry. So we don't know why it's there, but it wound up there, and I can tell you, from the original problems that he probably had, it probably wound up because of the brake problem, and that's what I'm speculating. because that can be a pain in the ass to figure out, especially if you're not sure how to go about fixing it. You can replace brake calipers, rotors, bleed it to your fingertips turn blue. It's not going to get the air out because there's something wrong internal with the ABS module. But anyway, I can talk about this stuff for a while. We came in on a hook, leaving out driving. I did my part, and it never fails getting stuff from these other shops. I'm pretty sure a lot of the stuff that it had originally could have just been taken care of with whatever it needed, just the one thing that it needed. The guy that worked on the car created more problems than none, and who knows, you know, a lot of this could have been alleviated if he had a better strategy when it comes to repairing vehicles. Never overlook new parts. That's going to be the theme of this. And because you see where it got us, this is the second vehicle I got from this particular place that they just threw parts at it, and it created more problems than assessing it and fixing one issue. But if anything happened, I'll definitely update. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed, how to reach on some more work. I'll see you on the next one.